Pittsburgh Steelers 7-6-1 travel on the road to Arrowhead Stadium to take on the 10-4 Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, as of right now, are a 7.5-point favorite. This game is going to be played on CBS this Sunday with a 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. The Steelers found the way to pull off the upset against the Tennessee Titans last week, 19-13. Meanwhile, Kansas City was able to defeat the LA Chargers in overtime, 34-28. The Chiefs are on a 7-game win streak, and they are trying to remain in the driver's seat to clinch that number 1 overall seed in the AFC. Now, I want you guys to travel back to the month of September and October. Remember what the narrative was about the Kansas City Chiefs? You remember when everybody was saying that the Chiefs were done, they were not Super Bowl contenders, and then I came out and I made a little YouTube short. It's still up, and I told everybody, do not panic. Do not give up on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to start to get hot around the month of December. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And I had a lot of comments saying that, oh, JT, the Chiefs are done. You're just giving them the benefit of a doubt. And look, I tried to tell you guys, do not overreact to the start of the regular season. You have to wait until we get to November and December to really assess how good a team is. Now, for the Chiefs offense, they could be in trouble going into this game. And you may be asking why. Well, if you haven't heard the news already, Tyreek Hill and star tight end Travis Kelce have both been added to the COVID-19/injury reserve list. Now, they have not officially been ruled out. If they are able to find a way to get a couple of positive or negative tests, then they could have a shot at playing in this game this Sunday. Devin Bush has also been added to the COVID-19/injury reserve list for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers, for some reason, this is probably the best fourth quarter team in the NFL. I don't know why, but for some reason, this team only likes to show up in the fourth quarter, the last 15 minutes versus showing up for the first 45 minutes. I don't know why. I don't understand why Pittsburgh can't play the way they do in the fourth quarter for a whole complete game, but I feel like a lot of people are underestimating Pittsburgh, and a lot of people have been doing this all year, and Pittsburgh is not a team that you want to underestimate, and this definitely is not a team that if you are a Chiefs fan that you want to be in a one-possession game with going into the fourth quarter. Like, if you are a Chiefs fan and you're going into the fourth quarter and you only have a 3 or 1 touchdown lead against Pittsburgh, you should be feeling very, very nervous. And on top of that, Patrick Mahomes has been heavily prone to turnovers this year, and you're looking at that Pittsburgh Steelers defense that forced a lot of them in the second half against the Tennessee Titans. So for the Chiefs, without you potentially, maybe without your 2 best pass catchers, what's the recipe for you to have success on offense? Well, the good thing is that the Steelers haven't had a run defense for pretty much over the last month or so. They've been allowing 140 yards on the ground. They have probably the worst run defense in the NFL. The linebackers have underperformed. Like, the run defense for Pittsburgh has been non-existent, to say the least, over the last couple of weeks. So the Kansas City Chiefs should have a lot of success running the ball with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and the other running backs that they have on the roster. Now, if you're looking for a wide receiver who could step up in this game if Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce aren't able to get through the COVID issues that they have right now, I think Josh Gordon is a guy to keep your eyes on. They signed him a couple of months ago. He hasn't really had his name called all that much this season. He does have a touchdown though, but I think that he could be a difference maker in this game. I feel like he kind of has been trying to learn the Chiefs playbook, and they haven't really found the role for him. Well, now, with you potentially being not your 2 best receivers in Kelce and Hill, this is the perfect opportunity for a guy like Josh Gordon to step up. And you look at Pittsburgh's secondary. Pittsburgh's corners aren't bad, but they're not great. Josh Gordon still has very great athleticism. He still is a mismatch nightmare when you look look at his speed and his size, and he definitely is somebody who I would keep tabs on. And I think that he may be able to have a pretty good game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, on the other hand, the Steelers passing game should have a pretty good performance this week because the Kansas City Chiefs secondary isn't all that great and their pass rush hasn't really been all that great this year neither. But at the same time, their defense has been playing some pretty good football. This is a top 10 defense when we're looking at the stats. You do have Melvin Ingram, which is also an interesting development because Mike Tomlin was asked about Melvin Ingram, and pretty much I like what he said. He said that we're looking for volunteers, not prisoners. Melvin Ingram didn't want to be here, so we shipped him off to Kansas City. Well, you look at the stats, and a lot of Steelers fans are saying Melvin Ingram hasn't really done nothing. I think he only has 10 tackles and 1 sack, but if you actually watch the games, you would know that Melvin Ingram has been a big boost to this Kansas City Chiefs defense. He has helped out this Chiefs defense a lot, and the reason for that isn't reflected in the stat sheet, but he definitely has been getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback when he has been in for Kansas City. And you look at the offensive line situation for Pittsburgh, not really ideal, but at the same time, it's an interesting matchup to look out for because can Pittsburgh win the front pretty much has been the question that Steelers fans have been asking all year. You look at Najee Harris. Najee Harris pretty much was a non-factor against Tennessee in the run game. They pretty much bottled him up. And for the Chiefs, defensively, the primary guys who you have to look at when it comes to slowing down the Steelers offense, which isn't all that hard to do, is trying to slow down Deontay Johnson, who is having a breakout season. He should be a Pro Bowler, and slowing down Najee Harris. If you take those two out the equations and you force other guys to get involved in Steelers offense, then you start to have some problems. Now, that doesn't mean that Pittsburgh doesn't have talent at wide receiver. You do have guys like James Washington, Chase Claypool, who hasn't really been a factor over the last couple of weeks. So you're looking for those guys to step up, and I definitely feel like this is a game where Chase Claypool probably could step up being that big body 50-50 ball wide receiver. But if the Steelers are going to win this game, they're going to have to make sure that Kansas City doesn't come in and they don't blow them out the water. And even if they do blow them out the water, when you look at how Pittsburgh has played in the fourth quarter, like no lead is really safe. So for Kansas City, it is really important that you take care of the football. And ball security is extremely important when you're playing a team like Pittsburgh, because do you know who the Pittsburgh Steelers' best weapon has been offensively? It's been kicker Chris Boswell, who should be an All-Pro this year. He should be a Pro Bowler this year as well, because he pretty much has been the most reliable offensive weapon the Steelers have had all this year. So if you're Kansas City, you don't want to help out a team that's struggling on offense by giving them extra possessions and giving them good field positioning. So it's really important for Patrick Mahomes, who has kind of struggled with turning the football over this year, that he puts a lot of emphasis this week, him and Andy Reid and their offensive coordinator, make sure that they put a lot of emphasis telling Patrick Mahomes to make sure that he takes care of the football. Also, what is the status of TJ Watt going into this game? Because he got kind of banged up in the near end of that Tennessee Titans win. He did come back and play. I think he had like a rib injury or something like that. He was holding his midsection, so don't really know how healthy he's going to be. But you do have to worry about Cam Hayward. Like, the Steelers' defensive line is still pretty good. The linebacker play just really hasn't been there. And when you look at the Chiefs' offensive line, their offensive line is loaded with a lot of talent that has been pretty good this year. It has taken a while to kind of get the chemistry down, but right now they're playing some fantastic football. So the team now going to take to win this game, to take the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the reason why I'm taking Kansas City is because if Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce are able to play, this offense should be able to score a good amount of points. Now, I'm not expecting them to light the scoreboard up on the Steelers defense, because the Steelers do have a very good defense. They are very good in the red zone. Even though they do give up a lot of rushing yards, this is a defense that is really hard to score on when you get inside that 20-yard line. And on top of that, this also is a very optimistic defense. However, Kansas City's defense has been playing really good over the last couple of months, or the the last month or so under defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. So I'm not expecting Pittsburgh to have a lot of success offensively. And Pittsburgh really is a team that makes sure that they are in striking distance to strike you when it enters the fourth quarter. For Kansas City, if you get up multiple possessions, you have to be feeling pretty good about yourself, because Pittsburgh has had the inability to stop the run for over the last couple of weeks. So if you get up, even if Pittsburgh starts to turn things on in the fourth quarter like they always do, they haven't really been able to stop the run game, which means that if you're up by a couple of possessions, even when Pittsburgh starts getting hot, you can still run the football to a lot of time off the clock and keep the Steelers offense off the field and keep their defense on the field. So I got to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win this game. And even if Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill do not play in this game, I probably still would take Kansas City to win this game. But I don't think the score would be, I think it will probably be a 3-point game if those two guys don't play. And the reason why I would still favor Kansas City to win without their two best players on offense in Hill and Kelce is because the Chiefs defense still is really solid, and I don't really trust the Steelers offense going into this matchup. So I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to get the victory. 27-14 is my final score prediction for this game.